Let's talk to Dr. Dean Eggitt, GP, CEO of Doncaster Local Medical Committee. Dr. Dean, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike. It's nice to see you.
Very nice to see you too. Story this morning in The Sun about heart attack patients in some parts of the country being advised to make their own way to hospital after dialing 999. I'm being told by my listeners and viewers that this is nothing new. This has been happening for a long time.
Yeah, certainly. So the ambulance waiting times, response times, actually changed some years ago, back in 2017. I remember commenting upon this and talking about how ludicrous the changes were. I think I said something along the lines of the people who are making this decision either don't understand medicine or don't care about human beings, because actually the seriousness of the problems were down-regulated so much that things like sepsis, instead of being classed as an urgent 999 call, was stepped down so the response time would be somewhat longer. So this has been a problem in the making for at least 7 years, possibly even 8 years. It's not new.
Right. And I guess it's the categorisation that's more of a problem than anything, isn't it?
Well, it's partly the categorisation. So I think it's trying to understand why the categories have changed. So for those who don't know, when you call 999, the responder understands your problem, has a rough idea what's going on, decides whether it's life-threatening, and decides how fast to send an ambulance, because there are many people who need an ambulance. So do you need it immediately, or can you wait a little while? But the reason why we have to ration those ambulances is, quite frankly, because they're all sat outside A&E waiting to offload patients.
Yeah.
There are plenty of ambulances around, plenty of ambulance crews, but we just can't get them away from hospitals because there is this offload time that's an issue. So it may be that you get an ambulance, you go to A&E, and you're sat outside of A&E in an ambulance waiting for care, and that consumes our ambulances.
Yeah, and that is a problem. Let me ask you about Wes Streeting as well. He's apparently ordered health officials to rewrite staffing plans, particularly for GPs. He wants a mass expansion of GP services to help tackle the NHS workforce crisis. I feel like I know what you're going to say here. You're going to go, well, that's all very well, but how are we supposed to expand our workload?
Yes, absolutely. So you've already answered the question for me. I'm all for expanding GP services, but, let's bear in mind that GP stands for general practice.
Yeah.
General practitioners can do most things. So the real question is, what do you want us to do? Because we can't do absolutely everything and be brilliant at it. Again, for those people who don't know, every year the government give us a mandate of things that they want us to concentrate on, and that might be 10 or 15 different things. So rather than just saying, we're going to expand absolutely everything, tell us what we're supposed to be concentrating on. Now, my answer to that, of course, is prevention. But what does prevention mean? Prevention isn't stopping somebody from going into hospital who's already moribund and already struggling. It's actually finding the illness before it becomes a problem and never letting it get too severe. And we've never done that really well in the past. What we've done is diagnose problems and got them into hospital, which is just clogged hospitals.
Yeah, exactly right. And I mean, in terms of your working days at the moment, I mean, are you guys still working to rule? Has that been sorted out yet, that situation?
No, sadly, it's still not sorted. I should point out I'm not working to rule, but many of my colleagues are. I think it's something along the lines of 50% of those who have been surveyed are saying that they're working to rule, meaning that they're seeing probably a maximum of 25 patients a day. They're only working within the constraints of that contract. And they're not doing the whole general practice, but just doing what they're told to do to minimise the work. That causes huge disruption for the NHS, and Wes Streeting, if he wants to expand general practice services, needs to really get on top of that and get GPs doing pretty much everything that they used to do.
Right. Because you're wearing your scrubs today, Dean. Does that mean that you're doing something particular today that's different from what you would otherwise be doing?
So I'm in surgery today seeing patients. It's winter time, which means that there's plenty of people with bugs. There's viruses that cause sickness, diarrhea, coughing. I'll also do some minor surgery later. So actually this is partly to protect me and my family. So when I go home, I can quickly change out of my clothes, get washed and into something different, because this job is a high-risk job. I don't want to get bugs and I don't want to take it back to my family, nor do I want to infect patients. So it helps to keep me clean rather than going home and then going shopping with clothes that are infected with other illnesses.
Yes, that's a very good point. Good to see you. Dr. Dean Eggitt, we haven't got as much time today as I'd like to have. We'll get you back on before Christmas. Thanks very much indeed. GP CEO of Doncaster's Local Medical Committee.